Morning, everyone. It's Pastor Jacques. Again, I'm wanting to stay in touch with you through these video posts, and I do pray sincerely that you're doing well, that you're fighting the good fight of the faith, that you're not growing discouraged. The longer this goes on, I know the more difficult it is for us as God's people. We're becoming frustrated. We're becoming a little bit confused, wondering what the Lord wants us to do. And so just to assure you, we are, discussing these things as elders. We're praying about these things. Certainly want to obey our government, but we also want to do what pleases the Lord. So be careful. Just continue to put your trust in the Lord. I want to continue with just a few more thoughts on these marks of spiritual maturity from the book of James. We've been looking at all kinds of different marks, and today I want to take a look at just another mark taken from James chapter 5, verse 13. Let me just read the verse, just one verse. It says this: Is any one of you in trouble? He should pray. Is anyone happy? Let him sing songs of praise. And so two things James says there about how we should live in the Christian life. He talks about prayer and he talks about praise. Those two things are critical for us as believers. As believers, we need to be praying, right? Jesus gives the parable in Luke chapter 18 of this widow who has been treated unfairly and unjustly, and she goes to this unjust judge, and she pleads her case before him, and the judge doesn't want anything to do with her because the Bible says he doesn't fear God, he doesn't care about people. And yet that widow persistently went back to the judge, and eventually, because of her constant pleading, he gave her justice. And then Jesus says, if this is what this unjust judge does, if this is what this ungodly man does, will not your Father who's in heaven, who loves you and has eternally cared for you, not bring justice to those who seek his face? And so the exhortation there is for us to pray. In terms of praising, the Bible tells us to be praising God at all times. Paul says in Philippians 4, verse 4, rejoice in the Lord always. And that's very hard sometimes. When life is hard, the last thing we want to do is start praising God. I mean, that's the last thing we do. I just think bringing these two things together, prayer and praise, I think of that situation when Paul and Silas are arrested because they cast out this demon in this girl in Acts chapter 16 who was following them around and saying, these men are servants of the Most High God. And they end up casting out this demon, and the people that were making money off her got upset. They beat Paul and Silas up. They throw them into prison. And the Bible says in Acts chapter 16 that about midnight in the stocks, Paul and Silas were praying to God and worshiping him. In the midst of the most difficult circumstances of life, that's exactly what they did. They prayed and they praised. Life isn't easy. We all know that. Life is hard. But one of the marks of our spiritual maturity as believers is that we'll be a people of prayer and that we'll be a people of praise. May God help us do that. May God give us the resolution to live that kind of life. Love you with all my heart. Be strong and faithful. Continue to fight the good fight. Amen.